Hey everybody, just passing on a few lessons that I learned as I begin to install this factory Mopar OEM trailer hitch, part number 822122180AC, or it might also end in AD. It's a class 4 hitch directly from Mopar, and I am installing it on my Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT 2014. And there were some things in the instructions and things that I haven't found on YouTube that I found might be helpful for you if you pursue this. The bottom line is you'll find some helpful videos on how to actually perform this install, but there are a few things that you might want to be aware of as you proceed through it. Number one is you're going to encounter a number of these little plastic pop rivets, and the kit comes with replacement rivets. You might want to have something like I bought here on Amazon, which is a number of different kinds of plastic fasteners. And the reason I primarily bought these is because I deal a lot with my Wrangler, and of course the Wrangler with its factory flares that I choose to keep on it. Sometimes we pop those loose, we break them, and basically I need to replace them. So this kit I found actually includes a decent little rivet that is not something that is expendable. Basically, it's it's called a black nylon shield retainer. Basically, I'm going to go ahead and replace the pop rivets that I pulled out with those. The second item that you might want to be aware of as you proceed through this is that you actually don't need to remove the entire rear bumper. I found a couple of places that it was a real pain in the ass to get this bumper off, and also the factory painted molding here was difficult to pop off in this area. Primarily, again, unbeknownst to me, as I read through the instructions, that this molding is actually fastened not only with a friction retainer, but also has some adhesive strips inside of it. So the strips actually made it very hard to get off, and then I had to, obviously tear that off. And in order to get the bumper, which has the rear bumper has a lip that actually sits underneath this molding, pretty far too. It goes in about 3-4 inches. So there's no way to get the rear bumper off without actually removing that rear part of the molding. You don't have to remove the whole molding, but you do have to remove that rear part. And then there is also a little clip underneath here that protrudes from this molding that sits in a groove inside the rear bumper. And you can actually see that groove right here at the upper left corner of the bumper. So if you're not careful, which I didn't know that was there, I actually snapped it. So I'm going to, of course, need to figure out how I'm going to compensate for that. I have a couple of ideas, but the bottom line is there's also a 10 millimeter bolt up in here that sits in that hole that retains the whole assembly there. So you will remove that 10 millimeter bolt, and the rest of this will begin to come loose. You have to be very careful, slow and methodic, and it will come loose for you. The other important item to note is that you don't need to remove the whole rear bumper. I was able to install the hitch assembly, as you can see here, by only removing just the driver's side. So I didn't have to go through all the same bullshit, if you will, with the passenger side. I just left that off, and you can see how the bumper just pops out. Basically, I'm just going to pop it back in after I start assembling everything again. So that's an item that you might want to note. And really nothing else to mention. Just be careful for the different plugs that you'll encounter. Basically, I've only encountered one, and there's a little tab that holds this on. And then, of course, you have the actual plug for your trailer lighting, which sits down below the rear hitch assembly. So there is you'll see in another video, I found someone helpfully posted that in order to get this cover off that you find right here, you actually have a little tab on top that you press in, and it is right here. And when you press that little tab in up top there, you can actually pull this straight off. The other item to note is with this class 4 hitch, according to what I'm reading in the instructions, you actually will have to have the dealer scan the barcode on the back of the hitch assembly so that they can activate the lighting harness. I don't know how that works yet. I'm gonna have to check it out, but I just thought you might find these few helpful tips as a time saver, and maybe you can pay it forward. Good luck.